meteorologist Mark Molnar as your host for Weather Northeastern. I will have everyone's photos and videos that were sent in available for viewing in the next segment of Weather Northeastern come next week after Easter. Let's take a look at those precipitation amounts across the Pacific Northwest. Look at this, we get a little bit of some beneficial rains with a trough developing over the next 5 days, but it's here across the Mississippi River Valley, Ohio River Valley, and into the Northeast and New England. That's where we stand the chance to see quite a system, especially the early to middle portion of next week. We could see a frontal boundary stall, and this is where energy ripples could form along it and produce lots of rain and even some thunderstorms. Let's take a look at that scenario setting up. Of course, here in the Pacific Northwest, that little bit of troughiness here, we'll get some systems moving in, but it's here across the central portion of the United States. We get that low-level jet, we get that dry line approaching from the Mexican plateau, and we get the stationary front really starting to stall out here. It doesn't really have any place to go, and this will be the boundary, the baroclinic zone between very cold, dry air to the north and very warm, moist air to the south, and we'll get some of those big-time thunderstorms developing later Monday through as late as Thursday next week. Stay tuned here at MeteoMark. It's going to be a very busy week for severe weather, and that severe weather could propagate its way up into the Ohio Valley and eventually into portions of New York and Pennsylvania come later next week. So stay tuned for that. Let's get right into those surface maps, starting with your Easter holiday weekend here for your Saturday. Look at this, much colder behind the front here. You were dealing with lots of 60s across the Northeast, but that's a fading memory, a thing of the past, as the front basically is moving off the coast here. Still has enough moisture inland to form some rain and even some snow showers likely, or rain mixing with the snow in the valleys here. Especially above 1,500 feet, Poconos and Catskills, you could see a slushy up to an inch or two likely. And then it's up towards the eastern Adirondacks, the White Mountains, up into Maine here, portions of southeastern Quebec and New Brunswick. We'll see a slushy couple inches of snow, especially Saturday morning through midday Saturday here. And of course back to Binghamton, Scranton, Monticello, Utica. These areas could see rain mixing with the snow, likely with those higher accumulation snowfalls in the higher elevations. Heading on into Sunday here, Easter Sunday, that system is a fading memory, but we start to get another boundary starting to develop here across Pennsylvania. Colder to the north, lots of 20s across southern Canada here, 30s across upstate New York, 40 towards the New York-Pennsylvania border, but it's southward into Pennsylvania. We start to get into some 50s and even some 60s off the screen here in southern Ohio. We start to get that boundary setting up here that's going to be with us all next week, heading on into, look at this, Monday. That boundary really starts to set up shop just south of the New York-Pennsylvania border. There will be times where Binghamton could be as much as 20 to 25 degrees colder than Scranton at the same hour. So this is going to be quite an impressive front. Temperatures will vary by as much as 200 to 300 miles, as much as 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, heading from the southern Adirondacks down towards the southern Susquehanna River Valley, Pennsylvania, where we'll start to get into lots of 60s and even 70s south of the Pennsylvania border, into Maryland. 60s across much of southern Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, 60-degree readings as well, heading on into Monday as well. And we pretty much have that boundary. So showers will start to develop, even some thunderstorms later in the day in Ohio, northern Ohio, western Pennsylvania. Look at this for Tuesday. This front slowly pushes north of the New York-Pennsylvania border, kind of hanging up here in southern New England, but nevertheless we still get some of those warmer readings filtering into portions of southern New England. We start to break above 50 in many places, even 60 towards the coastline, the closer you head to the coast. And we'll start to even see some 70-degree readings pop up south of this front, 60s being the rule across much of Pennsylvania once this front pushes all the way to the north. And we get late day showers and thunderstorms likely, especially southern Ontario, northeastern Ohio, northwestern Pennsylvania, and western New York here later on into Tuesday, even stretching southward towards Pittsburgh as well in Dayton, Ohio. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. This could be a busy week for thunderstorms across much of the area. So we're looking a lot more spring-like heading on into next week as we head through the Easter weekend. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern. I'm going to have a 5-day outlook for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton, Elmira, upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York into northeast Pennsylvania. Don't forget to like me on Facebook at MeteoMark, subscribe to me on YouTube at MeteoMark.com. It's Twitter at WX Northeastern, and Google Plus at MeteoMark. Here's our 5-day Look at this, heading on through Easter weekend here Saturday. We're not looking too bad as far as precipitation goes. We'll just have some of those early morning snow showers mixing with the rain. So those higher elevations, you could see up to a slushy inch or two, likely above 1,500 feet. But come mid to later portion of the afternoon, most of the precipitation should pull out. We could crack above 40 degrees here if we're lucky. It's heading on into Easter Sunday. We continue chilly, but precipitation out of the area, the sun breaking out, and the sun will be warm this time of year. So as long as you stay in the sun, you'll be warm. Heading on into Monday, look at this. We start to crack towards 50 degrees. And on Tuesday as well, we start to get some of those late day showers and thunderstorms as that stationary front really sets up shop across our area. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.